Letters to a Future Nurse. Chapter 13, Emerging in Love by Willow Merchant. When I was a new nurse, I was so excited to finally get to work. Nursing school felt like it took an eternity to complete. I was willing to work at any hospital, on any unit, on any shift, taking care of any patient who would have me. I landed in the neonatal intensive care unit at a large teaching hospital. Actually, this was the hospital where I was born and had done many of my clinical rotations in nursing school. I was a brand new, bright-eyed nurse, all of 20-something years old, with zero life experience. This is where I met Tanya. Devoting her life to improving nutrition for children in California pushed Tanya's dream of having a family to her late 30s. Struggling with years of infertility again delayed Tanya having a baby in her arms. The glorious day came when Tanya conceived not one or two, but 3 baby girls. The heartbreaking decision was made to reduce to 2 babies early in the pregnancy to give the 2 chosen babies a chance of survival. Then the unimaginable happened. The 2 baby girls were born at the brink of viability. Miraculously, both babies, Gracie and Sienna, survived. In the honeymoon of the first few days, Sienna became unstable. Despite every intervention available, it became impossible to keep Sienna's undeveloped lungs inflated. She passed away. The pain her mother endured through the process was absolutely undeniably devastating. The very next day, Gracie's tiny, fragile brain was bleeding. Her prognosis was grave. Gracie clung to life so tightly over the next couple of days. With failing lungs and a damaged brain, Gracie's strength began to wane. Tanya saw her struggle and she felt shame, fear, guilt, and most of all, intense sadness. She knew in her heart that it wasn't fair to ask Gracie to keep fighting. I knew it wasn't acceptable to ask a mother to make a decision about whether or not to continue care for the baby she'd worked so hard to conceive and give birth to, especially when she had already lost 2 other babies from the same pregnancy. This strong and courageous woman made the choice she felt was best for her baby, though it broke her already decimated heart. We bathed Gracie, dressed her, and took 1,000 pictures to commemorate her short life. We cried and celebrated the gifts she'd given. We played her music, we hugged and kissed her. Tanya wanted nothing more to take her baby girls home, but she would never be given the chance. The heartbreak of removing Gracie from life support and allowing her to pass away peacefully in her mum's arms filled Tanya with deep, soul-crushing sorrow. I felt the intense sadness of the loss of Gracie deep in my young heart and body. Crushing sadness made me question all that I knew about the world. A piece of my heart broke as I bore witness to the incredible anguish I watched Tanya endure. As a more seasoned nurse, I continued to walk alongside challenging patients on difficult journeys as a nurse navigating for high-risk obstetric patients. Knocking softly and entering room 154, I could see the tension in my own body rise as it mirrored the tense, stuck energy of the room. Asia was sitting in the creaky hospital bed with its scratchy, peach-coloured comforter around her shoulders. Her belly was swollen and her face was puffy, revealing she'd been crying. Since I'd not met Asia, I introduced myself and explained why I was there. I asked how she was doing, and with that one simple question, the floodgates opened. Asia cried and cried. She sobbed as hard as she couldn't breathe. So hard she couldn't breathe. She yelled with red-hot anger oozing out of her. She was angry to be in this intolerable situation, angry at her baby, angry at the hospital staff, and the plan requiring her to stay in the hospital until her baby was born. Asia's amniotic sac had ruptured, making her baby at risk of premature birth and infection. This meant potentially 10 weeks in a tiny, dark hospital room alone. Asia was devastated that she would be forced to sit in the hospital while her family's life continued on without her. She'd never been away from her 7 and 9-year-old sons before. Her aching heart was shattered for all for all her children, born and unborn. She just couldn't fathom how her big kids and partner would survive without her at home, and it made her angry that she had to consider to do this to take care of the baby in her belly. Asia's anger scared me. I'd lived my entire life in fear, scared of other people, scared of my strong emotions, scared of making an error that would hurt someone, scared to let my light shine. This experience showed me that anger isn't scary, it is just a feeling. Anger felt so understandable in this absolutely intolerable situation. Asia had to feel her rage so she could move through it and eventually heal from this traumatic experience. Over the years, the patients I cared for had elicited a host of emotions in me. I felt vulnerable and empowered. I felt like I changed people's lives, like I wanted to do more. I felt like I've done too much. I felt like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I felt like an expert. Learning so much about myself and the world through nursing stems from my willingness to go all in with people, to feel with them, hold space, enhance their anger, cry with them, and allow myself to feel whatever the experience elicits in me. It took me a long time to be able to do this. I denied my emotions for years. Over the time, my comfort with being with the discomfort grew. I learnt this is the heart and soul of being a nurse, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now I get to walk through my life holding my head up, feeling courageous and confident, knowing I have been in service to many families. Lowering the divider between my personal life and my professional life has allowed me to evolve into the woman I dreamt of being. Carrying the growth from experiences in nursing into my personal life has also caused the ripple effect, allowing me to help others move through challenging times outside of my nurse work. I learned through my years of nursing that the connections we make with people is what changes their lives and what changes us. The next time I met Nevaeh, our connection was palpable. We swapped stories, life stories, and barely paused to take a breath. Every story Nevaeh shared with me was modelled of her incredible bravery. She spoke of her struggle growing up in a dysfunctional foster home. She shared about never having any real support. She confided that she'd been going on high speed since she started having babies at 18, never pausing long enough to feel. Now she found herself on bed rest in the hospital for an extended period of time, waiting for her baby with little to do but feel her feelings. In the following days, so many emotions swept through Nevaeh as she looked at habitual patterns in her life. She explored how these patterns had impacted her decisions and relationships over so many years. This work was often unpalatable, but Nevaeh persevered. She was so brave as she peeled back the layers of shame and fear which had been crushing her for 26 years. She came to see a light she had never seen before in the family she had created. She witnessed the happiness in her daughters she had never experienced herself. She appreciated the loving relationship with her partner which was never modelled for her. She had support and was able to give. She was proud of the strength and courage in her daughters. Nevaeh came to understand that her trials had led her to the moments of darkness, which masterfully guided illuminations of her light to reveal the tremendous joy and happiness in her life. I feared she would sink into depression and stop doing the work because it was so difficult, but she challenged herself to bravely press on. I feared I wouldn't be able to stop crying as I sat with her. Watching Nevaeh move through her struggle was ultimately empowering. My soul has always been calling. I was living in my head, striving and doing rather than being in my heart and being. Finally, I saw that the soul-filling connections I so deeply desired were happening every day. I've learned more than I have ever dreamt of from the patients I've been blessed to take care of. They have shown me compassion and kindness. They've shown me bravery and courage I didn't know was possible. And most importantly, they have shown me how to love. The woman I have walked with, a woman I would have never crossed paths with within my day-to-day life. I would have never been given the opportunity to hold space for them and share the level of intimacy we so often shared. The woman I worked with were touching, honest, and tender. They were sharing their pain and triumphs. It has become absolutely clear how intricately we are all woven together on this journey of life. Sharing space and experiences with people during challenging times is the sacred work of nursing. Our hearts touch one another with every interaction. Women from all walks of life have invited me into the journey on the long road around motherhood with them. Not all became mothers. The hardship for some is becoming a mother, and for others it is not becoming a mother. It is an honour to share these hardest and happiest days. The women I have cared for have shone their light, igniting and reigniting mine again and again. Though I have rarely thought about walking away from nursing completely, I have often struggled to find a new and different way to be a nurse. I have moved around, I have changed jobs, I have developed new programs to improve patient cares. What made all the difference for me is finding the connections, finding the deep loving connections with my patients, and recognising we are all having a human experience. We are all in the same storm. Some of us have giant fancy yachts, and some of us have little well-made canoes, and some of us just have a broken, splintered piece of wood that we are hanging on for dear life. But at the end of the day, we are all having a human experience and deserve to be loved and valued and cared for. And that is why I'm here on the earth and what I get to do through my work as a nurse. And so Willow's practical tip is find a spot to record the meaningful things people say when you're working with them. Keep a praise journal, gives you a place to see what a difference you are making, especially on the rough days. So beautiful Willow is, over the last 25 years, Willow has had the privilege of walking with over 10,000 women through their childbearing years. Willow spiritually midwives families through emergence as vibrant, loving beings to nurture the next generation. Her gift is honouring and empowering families on their journey around parenthood with kindness, compassion, and ultimately healing. Willow is working to change the conversation by witnessing the experience, holding space, and asking powerful questions to coach around personal growth and development. Willow helps building families cultivate community by supporting heart-centered care and redefining the way we are in relationship with one another. Willow is the founder of Emerging Hearts Collective. Willow holds a Master of Science in Nursing, family nurse practitioner, is an international board certified lactation consultant, and has completed multiple certificates including trauma-informed care and alternate healing and modalities to support her clients. She guides women from all walks of life, celebrating and learning while serving families in multiple nursing roles. You can connect with Willow in the following ways: emergingheartscollective.com or on Instagram, Emerging Hearts Collective. Thank you so much, Willow.